Hello ProGuides family and welcome back to another video. My name is Nathan Ng and we have a juicy video for you guys today. We're going to be covering some concepts that less experienced players may not be entirely aware of. And with that in mind, we hope that these tips can greatly help you climb the ranks and reach the rank that you truly deserve. But before we get into the video is the question of the day. And that is, what is your favorite map? My personal favorite is Bind. I just love the long rotations with the teleporters and longer angles with the bathrooms mid and long. Make sure to leave your answer in the comments down below, and with that, let's go ahead and start the video. One of the fastest ways to improve your defensive game in Valorant is the ability to mix up the spots that you're holding while playing on the defender side. This can mean mixing up the bomb sites that you play or simply the spots within the bomb site that you play. A common mistake that players often make is that they will continue to use the same position over and over again whether they get punished for it or not. A good rule of thumb is to swap up your position every time an enemy spots you. By swapping up your positions on defense, it forces your opponents to clear more angles before they can push onto site or the area that you're defending. If you have just died playing a closer angle, think about swapping to a position further back. Furthermore, you can swap between pushing out of the site and playing on the site. You can even give up a site and double down somewhere else to catch your opponents off guard. Positional mix-ups are also just as prevalent on the attacker side. If you're the type of player to always default to the same place every round, this can give defenders the opportunity to possibly double down and kill you if you were alone. By pressuring different areas on the map on the attacker side, you eliminate the opportunity for the defenders to easily read what you and your teammate might end up doing. Additionally, if you notice the tendencies in the defender's behavior, you might want to be able to punish them on that. For example, if a player likes to peek you at a spot in the map round after round, try to communicate with your teammate to double peek them together or use your utility preemptively to flush that player out. Jiggle peeking is a great way of gaining information without exposing your entire player model to your enemies. In order to effectively do this, you simply move your character left and right really quickly to where you want to aim and still have a glimpse of what's ahead of you. This concept is especially useful when playing on defense, as you can spot enemies to see if they're looking onto the pressure or push onto a site. Regardless of the map or bomb site, there are always a few spots in which you can jiggle peek for more information. Jiggle peeking is even more effective when you pull out your knife, as your movement speed is slightly increased, which allows the time frame in between your peeks to be harder for your enemies to punish. However, be cautious to stop jiggle peeking once you spot the enemy, because constantly jiggle peeking can get you wall banged or just shot outright. Jump spotting is a great way of obtaining early information on enemy aggression or pushes without pulling yourself into danger. There are a few spots on the map that are great for utilizing this concept. However, Bind is a map I found particularly useful for jump spotting. On A site, you can jump spot showers and A short respectively. On the other hand, on B site, you can jump spot on the back of the middle container to see if there are people in hookah. If you can couple jump spotting into proper utility usage, you can buy your teammates enough time to rotate on time to help you defend a site or a spot on the map. Players at lower rank often like to play a specific spot and don't usually change things up as mentioned previously. By using your utility to clear these obvious spots or angles can cause your opponents to die outright and just feel uncomfortable by playing those spots. If you can flush out these angles as the round goes by, you can help your teammate by securing the bomb sites. Regardless of what agents you're playing, you have the utility that can clear angles when used properly. Some characters are equipped with more utility to clear out more spots, but each agent does have at least one ability that can be used as such. Breach is a character that can specifically used as a highlight in this concept, as he is equipped with one of the most disruptive abilities in the game, and they're absolutely annoying to go against. But they're only so annoying to go against because they are so powerful if used correctly. This amount of disruption allows him to quickly force his enemies to either run or deal with his damage or stun effects. His Aftershock is a great way for forcing enemies out of the corners. His Flashpoint can force people to run away or even give up space, and his Tremor can be used to stun anyone pushing or holding a position. On top of that, his ultimate is big enough to usually stun an entire bomb site. Minimap awareness is probably one of the most overlooked skills that many newer players do not pay attention enough to. Having superb minimap awareness will allow you to obtain information for yourself before your teammates can even call it. The minimap will spot enemies and spike before your teammates can even realize it. This will allow you to rotate earlier without relying on your teammates to recognize and communicate it on time. Being able to comfortably check on your minimap throughout the round can help you play more passive or aggressive depending on what's going on the map, or in my roommate's case, passive aggressive. For example, if you see the spike down on the minimap with a yellow question mark, you can either choose to flank or backtrack to double down with your teammates around the spike. You would be surprised how many rounds I've seen thrown away when teammates aren't really aware of the minimap cue, such as the spike down. Having solid minimap awareness can also help you understand what's going on the map, as well as being on the same page as your teammates. If you notice that your teammates are pushing up on a choke, you can simply up the pressure by focusing on the other choke or following through with them. Economy is something all high-level players are well aware of and understand very well. This topic is something that is fairly complex and we can't really cover it in the entirety for this video. However, one simple trick to help you and your team's economy is recognizing when it's okay to save your weapon and hide. This is especially the case if you have an operator, as it's a very costly weapon that you want to keep as long as you can. Some scenarios to start paying attention to are the ones where the bomb is planted and you have a significant man disadvantage. If you or your teammates are down 3 or 4 players when a bomb is planted, think about how saving it can help your economy in the future rounds. I see too many teams attempt to win 1v5, 2v5s, and 2v4s, and so on and so forth. Saving those weapons can greatly change the outcome of the future rounds and possibly the end result. Being able to properly play post-plan is very complicated and requires many skills to pull off depending on the situation at hand. Ultimate usage is something that can greatly increase the chance of your team winning against a post plan, whether that be on the attacker or the defender side. Don't be afraid to commit to your ultimates if you're retaking or holding a site when the bomb is down. Raze's ult is a great example of this because it's one of the highest impact ultimates currently in the game. I'd like to highlight how it can be potentially used in both retake and post plan situations. In a retake situation, by popping your ultimate, you can force enemies out of the hiding spots in order to deal with your ultimate, which can help you retake the site. On the other hand, popping your Raze ultimate on a post plant forces the enemies to wait out to retake as long as possible. If they push onto the site, you can just ult them and they'll just face the consequences. Some other ultimates that are particularly great for retakes or post plants are Phoenix, Brimstone, Breach, and Sova. Start paying attention to how you can use these ultimates in these situations, and I guarantee that you'll be winning more games and more rounds. Most players are fairly aware of the orb control but often do not actively pursue it during their games, especially if you're playing characters with ultimates that are 6 costs such as Brim, Phoenix, and Raze. By obtaining these orbs consistently, you'll push out significantly more ultimates as the match progresses. If you're using these ultimates as much as possible, you'll find yourself single-handedly winning more rounds for you and your teammates just from the sheer pressure of your constant ultimates. If you don't know how and when to use your ultimates, get in the habit of using them even if they aren't perfect. It's definitely more important to utilize them as they will come back as the round progresses. If you have a tendency on holding onto your ultimates for the perfect moment, you'll end up losing the opportunity of using it more often in a game. Think about it like this: you can ult 7 to 8 times in a game if you use your ults often, but if you hold it, you'll maybe just get 3 or 4 ults per game. Even if your ultimate doesn't kill anybody, it can help pressure or alleviate pressure. Newer players that are unfamiliar with a tactical shooter such as Counter-Strike might not entirely understand why trading is so important. If you're not actively attempting to trade lives, you'll find yourself in many situations where you're down a player or 2 for free. Especially when solo queuing, you need to actively tell your teammates to follow up on your aggression or follow up on your teammates' aggression. This concept piggybacks on the previous concept I mentioned on map awareness. With solid map awareness, it can position yourself better to trade off your teammates' aggression. You ideally want to be in range to quickly follow up with someone in your teammate's death, but not also be so close where you line up and die together. Trading is a great fundamental that helps you from losing rounds for free and can help build good habits for the future games. If you're winning duels now without this concept, as you face higher level players, this can be a huge problem. Players that lack this fundamental concept will start struggling against more experienced players. They will quickly pick up on this habit and start implementing their own trading tactics to combat that. The idea of utility trading is something that inherently happens when your playing field is progressively advanced. If you take an Immortal Radiant player on the top level and plop him into a gold rank game, this player can typically win the game purely from his core mechanics. This can include their aim, angle, and peeking knowledge. So how does a player win more of their gold games? One neat trick is to use utility when your enemy is using their utility. Enemies will use utility to stall out chokes or take space from you. If you are not trading utility back, enemies will not respect you and will continue to pressure you unless you prove otherwise. If you are a great player that can combine both trading and utility and player sense, then you'll find yourself winning more duels and way more rounds. You can stay ahead of the curve with these online resources like ProGuides.com, as we can help you guys realize your mistakes or teach you guys new things that can help you implement in your game. We highly suggest you start learning from the losses in every way possible. Start watching and analyzing your own replays, as your replays will not only highlight your mistakes but also help you reinforce the good qualities within your gameplay. With each death you make, there are decisions that could have been done better or avoided. Practice, practice, practice. You need to apply the knowledge that you learn from setting websites and replays in order to become a better player. All the knowledge you pick up will be useless if you never take the time to practice and apply it. Even if you understand the concepts at hand, you won't know how or when to use it if you don't practice it in real game scenarios. I quickly glossed over all these concepts as a way of making those who aren't as experienced aware of these ideas. If you believe you're one of the more experienced players, please help out some of the other players by leaving some great tips in the comments down below. Players that are able to even learn a few of these concepts and actively utilize them in their games will see massive improvements. Well guys, that's all we have for you today, but be sure to check out our website for on-demand coaching. If you want these topics covered in more in-depth and a second pair of eyes to help you guys improve, check out ProGuides.com. Additionally, our coaches can help cover these topics with you on an individual basis. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you want to support us and be notified for our next video. Thank you guys so much for your time. We hope you guys are staying safe and staying healthy and have a wonderful day. Peace.